Look at how high this bulge is. This kind of bulge, even if you walk on this beach, there are people who could trip over you. Wow, this conch is really big. Is it alone? It's a single one. There are many such conchs lying on the beach. There's another one underneath it. This sea grapes. Basically, if you blanch them, you can find them everywhere. Some things you can't necessarily find every day. But this sea grapes, every time I come here, I definitely have to take some back. Eat fresh ones every day. If you take too much, they won't stay fresh at home. This much is enough. We don't need to pick the rest. We'll pick them next time at low tide. This sea snail is eating this Manila clam. Can you see? The Manila clam is still in its mouth. It's almost finished eating. This sea snail is not afraid of people. This Manila clam is useless now. The meat is already eaten. It can't even swallow. But this sea snail is definitely alive. It was just eating a moment ago. I can take this home. We don't need the clam. Look, so many seabird footprints here. This crab is hiding underneath. What was its mood at that time? When its head was stepped on? What was this crab thinking? It didn't even notice it. It's really lucky. This octopus has changed homes several times. That one is its. This one is also its. It kept climbing here and then settled down. That's 3 places. It lived in 3 homes. Compared to this, it's very lively. There are so many seabirds here. It wasn't discovered by the seabirds. To be honest, this octopus is really lucky. This is also a breathing hole. Oh my, this breathing hole. How can it be so big when opened? There's still water inside. What else can we save from here? It feels quite spacious inside. Hey, this tree is leading to a mantis shrimp's hole. It really is a mantis shrimp. I've pulled it out. It's a mantis shrimp hiding inside. The tide hasn't fully receded yet. If it's fully open, they are 2 breathing holes connected together. When digging from this end, water can come out from the other end. Can you see this breathing hole? It's rectangular. This kind of rectangular shape are all the king's breathing holes. If it's a clam, it's a kind of king crab. This one can come out. This one is more obedient. A little more. If it retreats, it will run away like this. Block its escape route. This head is also, after sprinkling salt, it's quite thick. So long. Actually, those caught with salt are the best. There are several small pufferfish here. And another one here. They are all stranded. Look here. I picked up so many in this one spot. There's another one here. Recently, these pufferfish. What's going on? They've all come ashore with the tide. There's another one here. They've just come up. The tide has just brought them in. Aren't they angry? No. None of them. No breath. They roll back and forth with the waves. In the end, they have no energy left. Oh dear. Humph, I'm full of ink. It's only now starting to settle. What's the use of that? Look how quickly it settles. This octopus is so lively. When discovered, it immediately buries itself in the sand. Oh my, this octopus is so cultured. Look. It's full of ink. It even spits it out. Did it drink ink last night? You basically never see these small sharks alive. Hey look, this one still has oil. This is quite rare. This is the first time I've seen it this year. Look. This white fork. Its head isn't small. It hasn't been stranded for long. If it's been a long time, it basically won't survive. There's another one here. This one is still alive. Look at the color. You can tell it's not alive. As long as this fish is alive, it's silver white. Look, it's floating on the water. This fish swims so well. Look, I feel like it can fly. The small shark is a little smaller than the last one. But it's okay. This one hasn't fully formed yet. Yeah, I recognize it. There are many nearby that I haven't pulled out. If you don't know how to go tide pooling, you won't find this at all. This one isn't small. This head is big. This is quite big. This kind of sea grapes are all washed away by the tide. Only these few are left. Now this sea grapes. Sometimes the tide is very low. This soup is enough. When the tide goes out a lot, there are more of these things. This sea anemone. After passing through the sand, it will leave a round breathing hole. The size is okay. This sand anemone. This sand anemone is also rare. It's not the season yet. When it gets very cold, there will be more sand anemones. But this one is still okay. This is a complete. This is its base. Can you see this sand mound? This is a cat's eye snail. Mine is so big. This cat's eye snail is really big. It's eaten this clam, right? Look. This clam is almost finished being eaten. Half eaten. It's quite good at finding food. It found a small king crab to eat. Look how big its head is. Now this cat's eye snail. Once the tide washes over, you won't find it. If you don't recognize this bulge, you won't find it at all. Can you see this trail? This place, this is a crab. It crawled from there to here. Look, a swimming crab. Now this swimming crab is starting to hide on the beach. This one is quite fat. These swimming crabs are always fat. They're never thin. This place, this is a pufferfish. These small pufferfish bury themselves in the sand. Let's see if this one is angry. When they are swimming, if you chase them, they immediately bury themselves in the sand. This one can't swim anymore. Let it bury itself in the sand. It should be able to bury itself in the sand if it can't swim. Look. You can see how well it buries itself in the sand. It uses its head to bury itself in the sand. But you can't eat this kind of pufferfish casually. I brought this tool today. This can directly thread it. Clams. This is more convenient. We even save salt. But this tool can only be used for eating after threading. The meat is coming out. After I just opened it up. I'll check this clam. It's still at the entrance. Can you see its meat? It's threaded right through. This tool is incredibly convenient. As long as you see its breathing hole, just shove it down. It's that simple. And it's out. This breathing hole is probably a moon snail's breathing hole. This type of breathing hole, after you pry it open, you can see its tongue. Oh dear, where's its tongue? Retreating? Just follow its tongue and dig down. Right there. My hands hung up to it. This isn't even a moon snail shell. A new shell. These shells are quite rare. You find more of these shells in places with good water quality. In places with poor water quality, you hardly ever see them. This conch is almost buried in the sand. If I don't get it out of here, the next tide will completely bury it. With sea grapes on this dry beach, don't leave them for too long. If you leave them too long, they'll dry out. This hasn't been out long. This one can be taken too. These claws are still quite delicious. There's another one over here. With the strong winds recently, there are way too many jellyfish washing ashore. This one is still. Look. We'll use a bucket to collect these later. Don't touch these with your hands. Just grab a bucket and collect them. Finding these bulges near the tide line is... Even my hands are getting tired. That's definitely a cat's eye snail. This one is huge. A real whopper. I didn't expect it to be this big. It's already retracted. I didn't even touch it. This one must be years old. The shell is all black. It's quite weathered. You'll always find crabs in places like this. Ouch! It pinched my finger. It was hiding right there. My hands were pinching it. It came out pretty quickly. This little guy. You basically can't escape from this area. It's all this kind of crab. When catching them, it's best to wear gloves. Otherwise, you'll get pinched. This is also like... Places like this are all crab homes. This one isn't here. Oh, there it is. There's another one. Look, this one's pretty big. To catch this crab, you have to pin it down first. Otherwise, if you pinch it, it'll pinch you. This crab is pretty active. If it's hard to catch like this, just step on it. This one's a decent size. These flower crabs are incredibly fat right now. This octopus is so tricky. These few fishing lines have it snagged. It's still alive. It's a color changer too. But color changing doesn't help. Once caught in this fishing net, it's game over. Bulges like this are usually moon snails. That's not a swimming crab. That's a conch. This conch is on the beach. All alone. Look how plump the meat is. It just spat it out. From a distance, I saw this large bulge. There are two cat's eye snails. These cat's eye snails just came in with the tide. They are so full of water. Look, it's still burrowing into the sand. I haven't even picked it up yet. Its water is receding. It's not far from the tide. It's planning to bury itself on this beach. Right here. It's all fish. I wonder if you can see in the water. All these oily, densely packed, small live fish. I caught so many in one go. These fish are too fast. These little fish are all swimming in schools. They can't swim on their own. They could easily get lost. This one isn't very big. There are bigger ones that we can take. I'll let the small ones go. Back into the deeper water. There's another real fish here. I pinched it directly. I pinched its head. This fish was incredibly fast when it was alive. When I pinched it, I squished its eyeballs. My apologies. The fish is still alive, but this fish can be grilled. Look at how long its mouth is. This long. It just finished eating, and its belly is already cold. This one's alive. I really thought it was a shell. I didn't expect it to be so big. Look, it's much bigger than my hand. This one must weigh over a pound. It's bigger than my scale. Can you see? These big ones, I think I once collected more than half a bucket of them 2 years ago. Carelessly, I really thought it was just a shell. Look at this little pufferfish, following the tide upwards. It doesn't know to follow the tide downwards. So after the tide recedes, it's stranded. It buries itself in the sand. This guy doesn't seem to want to go back into the water. It's gone. I'll just see if it goes. This is a lively, large jellyfish. Can you see it's yellow? That's the jellyfish's brain. Its head is also particularly large. I don't want this one. This one is still alive. I'll flip it over. Flip it over and let it return to the sea. The tide is starting to come in over here. I wonder if it can still go back. The tide is now coming in this far. It should be fine. I've been eating a lot of jellyfish lately. I'll leave this one. Look at these sea grapes over here. They're so smooth in the water. This is long enough. There are so many sea grapes right now. Usually, no one wants to eat this many. No matter what, once there's too much, after eating it a few times, you've had enough. Look, the water is full of these dark flatfish. This flatfish is a master of sand burrowing. It's buried in this beach. If you don't know how to go tide pool it, you won't even see it. This fish isn't very big. This one's good for skipping stones. This kind of fish is incredibly flat. Now live ribbonfish are basically never seen. Look at this. It's lively and kicking. It's been a long time since I've seen a live ribbonfish. Actually, this ribbonfish won't live very long in this shallow water. Just watch it. It won't be alive much longer. Let's put it back in the water to let it live a little longer. We'll take this one later. This gray one, why is it so big? What is this? Such a large hole. I've never seen such a big hole before. This definitely can't be a clam. I'll open it up and see. What could be hiding in here? It's coming this way. It's a mantis shrimp. Look. Oh dear, the little guy's hiding inside. It's my first time seeing this. This mantis shrimp isn't in the water. That hole was so big just now. It's still just... It was just digging a hole. It didn't finish the hole. The tide's out. Let's take it. Places like this are also clams. See, its breathing hole is still showing above. It's still digging a hole. It was escaping when it accidentally left its rostrum behind. Look, the meat is still burrowing into the sand. Right by the tide line. If the tide recedes for a longer time, you won't see it anymore. By this net, there are so many yellow croakers. Several are under there. There's a big sea bass over here. There are a lot of sea bass now. Look at this big one. This one's injured. Let's catch this sea bass first. Why is there such a big hole in its body? Is it still edible? Let's take it anyway. Look how fast the fish are running away. Mantis shrimp haven't even dug through. Look at this moon snail. It's running back and forth with the waves. This one's not small either. It's being tossed around by the waves. It can't even get into the sand. This meat is still quite plump. The wind is a little stronger today. This moon snail is being blown back and forth. Now this cat's eye snail, its meat is especially full of water. You have to be careful when squeezing this cat's eye snail. Look at my hand. Squeezing cat's eye snails can cut you. Look at this sea grape. Just like hair. It's growing right on this sand mound. It really looks like it. This kind of sea grape on this dry beach. Let's just take it. Otherwise, the sun will dry it out. There's another sandcastle here. This is enough for one meal. This is also a mantis shrimp hole. This mantis shrimp's breathing hole are all two connected together. Two holes. From this side, if it breathes out, the shrimp comes out the other side. Let's kick it and see if it comes out. Sometimes they're not home. Oh, it came out. This one's huge. See this mantis shrimp? This one is really fat. Ow, this mantis shrimp's spines are so painful. Look, it bit me. I have to step on it with my foot. If I use my hand, I can't beat it. This mantis shrimp is too big. Look how big it is. It's almost as big as my hand. Look how big it is. Look. If I pin it against this foam, it won't be able to do anything. This is unmanageable. It's been quite a while. Can you see this purple? That's it. Look how big this is. This is also from its... All of it fell off its body. This is part of a claw. That's not a whole claw. You can imagine how big that jellyfish was. It wouldn't even fit in a bucket. We'll leave this one. It's too heavy. This thing must weigh tens of pounds. These are all breathing holes. After prying it open, you can get right to its tongue. It's still here. Sprinkle salt. The sand is drier here. No reaction. Hey, there's a reaction. If there's a reaction, don't block its escape route. A little more. Don't block its escape route. This one's not a small head. This one's all dark. Look at this meat. So lively. This rostrum is still quite sturdy. It came out, and it hasn't fallen off yet. Usually, once the rostrum falls off, it runs away very fast. This one is so obedient. We only used a little salt. This one is good at camouflage. It's hiding by this rock. It's almost the same color. If you're not careful, you'd think it was a rock. I even suspect this. Conch is eating this oyster. The water content is amazing. It's squeezed so evenly. This oyster shell has already been opened. It must have been eaten by the snail. Cat's eye snails eat oysters too. Tide pooling requires going to a more distant beach. Since I bought a BMW 3 Series on Gwazi used cars, going tide pooling is much more, and it only cost me over $90,000, more than $200,000 cheaper than a drives like new. New cars depreciate quickly these days. Buying from Gwazi is a great deal. Every car on Gwazi undergoes official professional inspection. You can test drive it for 3 days. Buy with confidence. If you have an old car, you can sell it on Gwazi for a high price. Listen to me. Sell your used car on Gwazi. This yellow croaker is still alive. This yellow croaker is quite interesting. It's white during the day, but as soon as it gets dark, its whole body is yellow. There's another one here. This one's still alive. Big shrimp are plentiful this season. These things are the best. Nobody wants these small fish. Look at this seabird. Eating fish down there. This fish fell out of its mouth. Look, its body is already torn. It's still waiting here. This little rockfish. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. I'm lucky to have found you. This one probably won't survive. Look, its body is already torn. This fish is delicious. Will it survive? If it will, I'll let it go. It should be fine. The tide is here. This octopus is still trying to crawl that way. It's already standing up. It's about to stand up and walk. This striped one changes color at the slightest touch. When it gets colder, there are more octopuses. This one over here is cat's eye snail eggs. Let's put these back in the water. How many cat's eye snails are there?